And for more on this, we're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for the afternoon, Dr. Ayman Ghoniem, our economic expert. A very good afternoon to you, Doctor.
Good afternoon, madam.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time this afternoon. Now, of course, Doctor, we are talking about the objectives of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, a very important agreement which was spearheaded by Egypt during its presidency of the African Union. How important do you see this agreement, and what are some of the main objectives behind this trade agreement?
Well, actually, this agreement aims at creating finally a unified one single African market, bringing together more than 1.5 million people in a single market.
Yes.
And therefore creating economies of scale, economies of scope, creating huge opportunities for the expansion of the African economies and for the economic integration between the African countries, supporting the quest of the African countries into industrializing their economies and transforming from the raw material export-based economies into industrialized economies, value-added economies, economies that each African country would be specialized in producing the finished good that it's able to produce at the highest quality and the lowest cost.
Yes.
And therefore finally increasing the economic growth of the African countries and increasing the employment of the African people.
Dr. Ayman, let's talk a bit about the benefits of boosting intra-African trade and agreements and economic exchange. What are some of the benefits of this? How does this make African countries more independent from global markets, and how beneficial is this to African nations?
Well, to start with, the intra-African trade is no more than 15% of the African foreign trade. This is compared to 30 to 40% in Asia and more than 50 to 60% in Europe. The small percentage of the intra-African trade from the foreign African trade, of course, is due to many reasons. The most important of which is that the African economies are still tied to remote foreign markets, because most of the African countries stay largely relying on the exportation of raw materials and importation of finished goods.
Right.
Of course, presently many of the African countries, whether in North Africa or the Western Africa or sub-Saharan countries or South Africa, actually in most of the regions of Africa, they are now trying to industrialize their economies, to create value addition.
Moving away from raw material reliance to more industrialization. Yes.
Exactly, and in doing so, they also try to secure their economies from the over-reliance on remote economies that have proven unreliable during the last decade, especially with many international crises, with pandemics, with the global inflation that rocked the international economy during the Russia-Ukraine war, and that threatened to rock it in the present conflict in the Middle East. Of course, thank God the conflict is now ending.
Indeed.
So the African Free Trade Area actually is not a luxury. It's many of the African countries are seeing it now as an opportunity for integrating the African economies, following suit the European and the Asian economies.
Indeed. Dr. Ayman, let's talk a bit about some of the challenges facing the establishment of this trade agreement and its inception as well as its implementation. What are some of the main challenges facing this agreement, sir?
Well, of course, the main challenge is infrastructure. The development of the African infrastructure, talking of course about roads, railroads, trade routes, maritime trade routes and ports and airports. The development of the African infrastructure requires annually more than $100 billion. That's actually the financing gap that's required to develop the African infrastructure. This on one hand. On the other hand, of course, financing the foreign trade in Africa is still limited.
Yes.
We're talking about also a financing gap estimated at around $80 billion annually. Of course, this is also coupled with the traditional challenges, being the over-reliance or the tying of many of the African economies with the Western economies since the colonial era, and the model of exporting raw material and importing these goods. So all these challenges create together, and of course some political hesitation from some African governments, the lack of political will of some African governments to push forward such foreign trade agreement in order to develop into becoming a single African market. Also currency fragmentation. Many of the African economies still rely in their foreign trade on the foreign hard currency. We still don't have a mechanism of exchanging through the local currencies. So all these challenges, and of course many non-tariff barriers.
Yes, actually that leads me to my next question, Dr. Ayman. What are the measures being taken to, remove non-tariff barriers under this agreement?
Well, there are portals now that are created by the African Union and the Free Trade Area Agreement, and these portals receive the complaints from the African traders and African exporters. And the African governments are expected to solve these complaints punctually, because, as I told you, there are some challenges regarding the non-tariff barriers.
Yes.
To remove tariffs, we still have bureaucracy, we still have some custom delays, and of course we still have some uneven regulations between the African economies. So to solve these problems, as I said, we need more political will from the African governments to push forward such agreement into becoming a single African market.
Indeed. Now, Dr. Ayman, let's look at the other side of the coin. There are arguments, specifically by some African countries, and hesitation, like you mentioned, about this agreement because they are trying to, protect domestic markets, for example. How do you see such challenges being addressed?
Well, actually, this is because many of the African economies, they are still not sophisticated or developed in industrialization, because these governments that use the argument of protecting the local markets for the local industries, many of them, they are more tied with the Western economies in terms of exporting raw materials and importing finished goods. So the ultimate objective of this agreement, this free trade agreement, is to create more efficiencies into the African economies by inducing the specialization. Each African country would be specialized in producing the product that has the highest competitive advantage on one hand, and on the other hand, this would lead to more integration and more expansion in the production and the so-called economies of scale, because we have an African consumer market of more than 1.5 billion people. Of course, to address the challenge that you spoke about regarding the protection of the local markets for local industries, yes, we need to have more planning and more research funded by the African governments and funded by especially by the ministries of planning and economy and investment in African countries, in order to administer the free trade area in a form of state-directed capitalism, like what happened in Southeast Asia and the European Union, in order finally to reap the benefits of having such a huge market unified together.
Absolutely. Dr. Ayman, you also mentioned an important issue, which is that of the development of the infrastructure. Now, many African nations are developing infrastructure like road networks, border patrols, etc. Also, the digitization, technological advancement. What role do you see, technological development having with regards to digital trade, e-commerce, and the future success of this agreement, sir?
Well, actually, the digitalization is of the paramount importance for the African economies. From one hand, it's one of the tools that all the countries around the world are developing in order to develop their commerce and trade. And on the other hand, it's the empowerment tool for small and medium-sized enterprises. Because you know that the SME sector has a major problem worldwide in the marketing. And that's why many countries worldwide are helping, the governments are helping the SME sector in the marketing, especially in Southeast Asia. So one of the tools in order to empower the SME market and to, it's like a workaround tool for the challenge of marketing for the SMEs. Also, the development of the digitalization helps to increase the efficiency of the African economies and the efficiency of the African or the intra-African trade.
Yes.
But of course, many of such digital services, we have to be frank, many of them are on the surface services, meaning that they are, they offer some services digitally, but then you need human interaction in other services. The fact that eliminates the benefit of having a digital service portal, for example. And therefore, to overcome this obstacle, as I said, we need political will, political determination, and we need to set a strong objective of eliminating the human intervention in such intra-African trade. Of course, this is not easy. This requires a lot of harmonization of the local regulations.
Yes.
This requires a lot of work in terms of the custom procedures. The idea here is to try to unify the regulations and to try to unify the custom procedures and to put a single objective of offering full digital services for the intra-African trade in order to empower especially the small and medium-sized enterprises in Africa.
Absolutely right. We'll leave it at that. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Ayman Ghoniem, our economic expert and our guest for the afternoon. Many thanks, sir, for your insight and for joining us on today's episode of Africa Today.